lose. You will never, ever lose. And you will build such a successful fucking business when you trust yourself and respect yourself, because that is how you raise your prices. That is how you start seeing yourself as the fucking prize.
You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in.
The thing that you need to understand about raising your prices and charging for your work. So on the one hand, getting around to believing that you can charge for your work is something that you need to work through and overcome when you start a business. A lot of people start their business, they're doing the strategy, they have the website, they have the sales page, all of these things, but what they haven't reconciled is the fact that, like, holy shit, like, I'm charging for my work. I am charging somebody to do this work. And you guys already know the story where, like, I've told you how I grew up in a family that didn't really acknowledge things like mental health or emotional well-being. So becoming a coach, even though I was doing all of the things strategically, I had this belief that, like, who was going to actually pay for this? So whatever that looks like for you in terms of the journey of believing that someone is going to pay you for the work that you're doing, that is a piece of it, okay? That is always the beginning piece. But then we go into, how do I raise my prices? And here is what the conversation is actually about. When you are thinking about raising your prices, what you're actually asking is, how do I raise my internal value? How do I see what I'm charging at the same level as my internal value? Because I do not skirt around this topic. When it comes to when people are paying you as a coach or as a service pro, they are paying you because of the value that you are exchanging for money. And that is not something to shy away from. It is not something to be like, well, no, they're also paying you for, like, the exchange of information, blah, 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 blah. No, they're paying you. They are paying you to learn from you, to be taught by you, to be led by you. And this is something that people can crumble under the pressure of, or they can really fucking step into it. And the people that are making money and signing clients and have big successful businesses are doing so because they have recognized, acknowledged, and stepped into their internal value. And for a lot of people, this can feel very confronting because they are finally having to step into and confront the fact that people are paying me because of who I am. And when you don't have a good self-concept, when you don't see yourself as a big deal or as a leader or as somebody who is even worthy of love, respect, adoration, praise. This is why the work that I do is so pertinent and so important, because a lot of people think, oh, it's just your mindset and or it's just your strategy. And it's like, actually, a lot of it does come down to worthiness, like being able to be consistent and to show up every day and to sell an offer where, like, nobody has reached out about for a couple of days. Like, it eventually culminates into this thought of, am I worthy of having the business and the life that I want? And that sounds really heavy, but it honestly is behind everything. And the reason why people have faltered, the reason why people have not continued, the reason why they haven't been consistent or they've fallen off is because of things that happen in their life. And then they start telling themselves, well, I can't coexist with this identity and the identity of somebody who leads, right? Or something happens in their personal life and they feel like, oh, like I can't keep up this charade of like being this version of me online when this is happening behind the scenes. And it's like, because you still haven't done the worthiness work, because you still don't truly believe that who you are, every fucking piece of you and who you are is worthy of receiving exactly as you are. So recognizing first and foremost that your value is something that can be exchanged for money. Who you are, the things you've learned, what you've transcended, what you've overcome, the experience you have, the education, the certifications, everything culminates into being somebody that can lead. And I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things that you can do that will help you raise your internal value and therefore help you raise your prices. Because whenever somebody comes to me and they're like, what should I charge for this? I always say, like, I can't tell you what to charge, because if I tell you you should charge blah, 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 then if it does not feel right inside of you, you will sabotage the fuck out of that. You will sabotage it. If it's too high, you will not sell it. You'll get really fucked up about it. You'll think that it's not good enough. You'll spiral. If you think it's too low, if you subconsciously feel like this is really low, you could probably sell it. But there will be resentment that will happen if you do sign a client at that rate. This has totally happened to me before. It's happened to a lot of my clients before. But when we don't charge adequately and when we tell ourselves that like, oh, I'm just going to like lower this price, or I'm just going to charge what I think I can get, right? You are actually charging exactly what you believe that you can have. And when you actually have the courage to raise what you charge, but like doing it from a very confident and certain place, not from this like fake, like, oh, I'm just going to raise it, blah, 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 because that can be a problem too. It can be a problem when you're charging too high than what you believe, because then you probably won't sell it at all. You won't sell it as confidently, and you're low key behind the scenes telling yourself, I'm not good enough to receive this. So this is why it's such a personal decision, and the right price really comes down to, okay, what is the offer? Like, what is the offer? Does it make sense for this to be charged this amount, right? And getting really clear on that first and foremost. And then how would I feel if I charged this amount? And just check in. Does it feel a little bit scary? But like, this is absolutely indicative of like the work that I'm going to put in and the time that I'm going to put in. Am I just thinking about what other people can afford? And is that my only reason? Because if it is, that is not a good enough reason, right? So it is such a personal thing. And I know that I'm going on and on about this is how you should charge, blah, 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 blah. But I truly don't spend more than a couple minutes trying to figure out what to charge for something, because it's a gut feeling and it's something that you will get better at as time goes on. You also have to think of the industry and the market, but like it is so much easier to just charge what you want to charge when you are recognizing your internal value and when you are charging adequately with the market, with the industry, with how those things are normally charged, and with your worth intact, and really feeling like, I know the work that I'm going to put into this. I know the work that has already gone into it. I know the time I'm going to invest into this offer, and this feels good to me, right? It is such a personal thing when it comes to charging what you want to charge. And that is why I don't tell my clients this is how you should charge, because it has to feel fucking authentic to you. So let's get into really quickly how you can raise your internal value. And the first thing is like keeping your word to yourself. And this is not just about business. This is about in every aspect, as it always is, right? Like we can't have an identity that just exists inside of the business. Who we believe we are is always. It is who we step into after we close the laptop. It is who we step into when we're working out. It is who we are, essentially, down to our core. So it's not even just about who am I when I have my laptop open or when I'm coaching a client. We also have to think about like, who am I outside of work? So how you can do that is keeping your fucking word to yourself. So when you say, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to write an Instagram post to schedule for the next week, do that. When I say I'm going to get up and work out in the morning, or I'm going to get up and take my dogs for a walk, like I do that. And if I don't, it does damage the way that I see myself. And I don't mean like, oh my God, it's so detrimental to the way that I see myself if I don't fucking get up and take my dogs for a fucking walk the first thing in the morning. But what I am saying is that the more that you keep your word to yourself, the easier it is to strengthen your inner value because you respect yourself. You see yourself as somebody who follows through. And this is a big, big thing when it comes to owning a business. It is like when you believe you're somebody who follows through, you have a lot less anxiety about business, about launching, about doing an offer because you trust yourself. And self-trust is like one of the biggest tools and things that you need to have when you run a business because you are the CEO, you are the person fucking running this ship. And if you don't trust yourself, you don't have anything because you will just believe the negative thoughts about yourself and you won't follow through on things that you say you're going to do. And when you're inconsistent and you're creating excuses for yourself, like that is not somebody who respects themselves, and it's not somebody that other people respect either. And that can sound kind of harsh, me saying that if you don't respect yourself, neither will other people, but that is the name of the game. When you don't respect yourself, when you don't trust yourself, how do you expect other people to respect and trust you? So keeping your word to yourself looks like paying attention to all the ways that you break your own word throughout the week. And that can look like the things you eat. It can look like how you speak to your partner. It can be like the workouts that you do. It can be the work that you said you were going to get done. Speaking as somebody who has ADHD, I have a lot of executive dysfunction. There are some weeks where I'm like on fucking top of my shit. And there's some weeks or some days that I'm like, well, I didn't get anything done that I said that I was going to get done. But like, I know how to repair trust with myself. I know how to talk to myself. So I think that it's also knowing that you're not going to go down the shame spiral if there are legitimate reasons for why you're not doing the things that you said you were going to do, but not if it's all the time. Because at the end of the day, you still own a business, you still run a business, and there are going to be a lot of things that are going to be obstacles and things that are in your way and reasons why you can't get shit done for your business. And this is also why it is so important for you to be coached and to be supported in this. So you're also not doing a bunch of fucking things that don't matter. You actually have like a clear strategy on these are the things that I need to be focused on and working on. Like the amount of people that come to work with me inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program where they're like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa, like you don't need to be doing all of that shit. You should be doing this and you should be doing that and you should be working on this. And the relief they feel because they've been burning themselves out doing all of the things to make money, to sign clients, to create content, all of these things. And really, it just takes like you being focused on the right things. So again, at the end of the day, it really does matter that you are doing the right things in the right direction, and that you can do that without somebody needing to tell you every single day you need to be doing your work, right? Like this is not school. You own a business, and when you keep your word to yourself about things inside of the business and outside of the business, when it comes to your workouts, the way you eat, the way you take care of yourself, the way you speak to your partner, the way you are in your relationships, how you talk to yourself, right? And it will be so much easier for you to believe that people should respect you and should want to be led by you when you respect yourself and lead yourself. Another thing that looks like raising your value is pushing the edges of your comfort zone. So really pushing the edge of like, I don't want to do this, but I know it is for my growth. And I think a lot of people are discomfort adverse in the coaching industry. And I'm not saying this as somebody who has always gone head first into things. I have a lot of anxiety. And as you guys know, I also have a stuttering disability. So, there are a lot of things that scare the fucking shit out of me, like having to go live or having to do like live events, right? Like these things are scary. Even being on a coaching call with a new client can sometimes be anxiety inducing, right? Because I have a stutter, because I have a lot of like experiences in my life where I've not been able to say the words that I want to say. Like it's not always easy for me to do the things that are required to run a successful business, but I know the difference between this doesn't feel good because it's actual resistance versus this doesn't feel good because I'm just stretching my comfort zone. And like, this is actually something that is good for growth. I was talking about, it's on Instagram stories, a long time ago now, how there was a time period where I was like kind of afraid to get back on podcast interviews because there was just like a fear that I had developed over time. I was really comfortable doing my own podcast and being on my own content, blah, blah, blah. But when I started thinking about being on other people's podcasts again, I started to get really nervous and anxious thinking about it. And I thought to myself, well, this means that it's time for me to do it. So I actually started going on a bunch, and I was on a ton in the last 3 or 4 months. And I really had to get over that fear, but it was so potent before I was doing it. Like before that first time I got back on a podcast interview, I was fucking shaking in my boots. I was so anxious. I was so nervous. And the more I did them, the better I felt, the more comfortable I felt. And I think that this is really huge because again, it means knowing the difference between something that is just uncomfortable because it's pushing the edge of your comfort zone and something that is like genuinely not good for you. And 9 times out of 10, when it comes to the business, creating content, showing up, going live, saying the fucking confident thing, these are all things that just feel uncomfortable, but people will take them as reasons to, oh, well, I'm not enjoying this. Like this is resistance. And it's like, it's not resistance. It's you being a little bitch and you not being able to discern between this is discomfort that is good for me and something that is helping me grow and expand versus actual resistance. So really putting yourself in situations when it comes to the business that are uncomfortable almost daily and doing things that may not feel great off the hop and doing that fucking daily. Because truly, I think that feeling good is something that is like happiness. It's so fleeting. It's not going to be all day, every day. And it comes from feeling fucking proud of yourself. It comes from realizing that I did something that was hard. It's like doing a hard workout. And like, I often talk about like working out and taking care of yourself here on the pod. And that's because even though I fucking hate working out, it's so good for me. It's so good for my health. It's so good for my fucking thoughts and my anxiety and my brain, right? But it also is very similar to running a business. It is temporary discomfort for the long-term satisfaction. It is the temporary feeling of, fuck, I don't know if I can do this or if I can keep going, and realizing that there is a really great payoff at the end of it. And that's how business feels. When you have spent a long time on a sales page, or you've been launching and selling your offer, and then somebody buys, and then somebody joins, and then a client says to you, like, I absolutely love working with you. Like, these are things that make our work, our hard work, so rewarding. And when you actually step into that and you realize like, oh, all that hard work was for these results that I'm seeing, right? Like, it is so rewarding, but people will never get to that place when it comes to running a business and being a coach and all of these things, because they can't deal with the temporary discomfort. A lot of running a business and putting yourself out there and showing up and selling is like, that is going to be uncomfortable because you're pushing against the edge of your comfort zone, and you're also pushing against the edge of who you believe that you are. But that is the first step. I am not somebody who says, okay, we're going to do the worthiness work, we're going to do the mindset work, and then you're going to take action. No, I throw you in immediately. And I say, you're going to do this all at the same time. You're going to do the worthiness work. You're going to do the mindset work. We are going to work on these thoughts, and it is a perfect time for you to take action and do the content and show up and sell, even if it feels fucking messy, even if it feels not good enough, even if it takes you for fucking ever to do like an Instagram story sequence and you're like, oh, that took so long because I was just so in my head about it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, good, because you are being the version of you that you say you want to be. You are keeping your word to yourself, and you are experiencing discomfort, but there is going to be a lot of discomfort on the journey to your highest self and on the journey to you being the best fucking version of you. The last thing I'll say about that too is I saw this coach who is just like really in a great season. She is in a fucking winning season. She has all these results. She's like super happy. She's saying how happy she is and how fucking she's making all this money and it's amazing, right? And like, I love observing people like in different seasons of like running their businesses and how they're leading, how they're creating content, because it's a really good indicator of frequency. Like, it is crazy how important frequency is when it comes to creating our content and selling, and why I'm such a big supporter of like doing the mindset work and doing the worthiness work and seeing yourself as good enough, because the frequency that you put out in your content and when you sell, like, it is potent, it is felt. So this particular coach, she was actually saying recently about, oh, you know, like I had this client that left the container that I had, blah, blah, blah. And it was just such a great and beautiful reminder that even when you see somebody who is seemingly doing fucking incredible, there are still going to be uncomfortable things that are occurring. And that is running a business. There are still going to be opportunities where you're like, oh, I can choose how to feel about myself right now, and it can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. And it's okay to be feeling discomfort. It's okay to be feeling like, what the fuck am I doing and who the fuck am I? But that is why the mindset work and the worthiness work is so important, because none of it means a thing about you. And as long as you are committed to your personal development, as long as you are committed to your belief in yourself, as long as you are committed to like, I am becoming the best version of me, you will never lose. You will never, ever lose. And you will build such a successful fucking business when you trust yourself and respect yourself, because that is how you raise your prices. That is how you start seeing yourself as the fucking prize, because nobody can take away your internal value. Nobody can take away how you feel about yourself. Nobody can take away the skills and traits that you possess, right? Like, when you work on yourself as like the person that people pay because they just want to be in your world, they want to be close to you, they want to learn from you, that is something that nobody can fucking copy from you and nobody can fucking take away from you. And this is exactly what we build in the From Imposter to Empowered program. It is not just about the value that your offer has. You are the value, and really building that belief in yourself and having that radiate in your content. And when you sell, really having the belief of, I am good enough, I am worthy of everything that I want, the business, the clients, the money that I want, and actually building a business. So again, doing the tasks that matter, that actually move the needle, like creating content, like selling, like knowing how to position your offer to the right people. That is what we're doing inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program. It is worthiness, it is mindset, it is subconscious reprogramming, and it is the strategy as well. It's the content, it's the sales, it's the fucking showing up and selling your offer with certainty and confidence. That is what we do inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program. And you can join. You can join for 3 months, you can join for 6 months or 12 months, stay for a year. I would love to have you. There are women in there that have stayed for several months, and I believe that 2 or 3 of them are coming up on a year now, and it is just an amazing space. I love this community. I love the girlies inside, and we would love to have you. So head to the link in my show notes, check out all of the things. If you have any questions at all, send me a DM at your coach Jill, and I can't wait to coach you. Bye.